All right, you ready for part 2 of the bone broth? Okay, 4 hours is done in the Instapot, so let's take a look. All right, my babies. This is some beautiful stuff. Look, I'm a fan of the Instapot making stock. I think it does way better than stovetop. I still have one going on the stovetop, but it does way better. Now you can see, look how beautiful that is. Now I've tasted it, and I like the way it tastes. It has enough salt. It has enough pepper. We've got all the flavorings in here. Now what I will do is I will remove all the meat and the carrots out of here. And I will feed that to the dogs. I will not give them the fat, but I will give them all the meat and the carrots because there's no sense in wasting that. The animals absolutely can have that. Or I'll freeze it and put it in the next batch of dog food that I made because I already made a batch of dog food from the leftover dark meat that I had. Yeah. So, and I got 12 bags, so 12 cups of dog food out of that. So this is done, and we can do one of two things. We can either can this, which will require pressure canning because there is no acidity in this, and I may very well do that. Or we can move this over into a stock pot, and we can reduce it down to a thick syrup, and we can dehydrate it. A lot of that's really just going to depend on how many jars I have and whether or not I feel like pressure canning today, because it's an endeavor to pressure can, but I have to do something with it. So we're going to do one, or we may do both. I don't know. Rachel, I hope this helps you. Look at that big clean bone. I hope this helps you in your endeavor of wanting to start making your own things. And yes, chicken feet are great. So are beef knuckles. They are full of collagen, right? But the chicken feet, you can actually, it's safe to give to your dogs, in case anybody wanted to know. It is, even after they're cooked. I researched. So that's what I do. I've made chicken bone broth from nothing but chicken feet. Just make sure you clean them off. That's really all you got to do. So there we go. That is part 2 of the turkey broth. And let me tell you something, it smells like I've been roasting a turkey in my house all day today. It smells beautiful. Let's look at what's in the stock pot because it's not done. All right, we're still going in my stock pot. Hang on. I got to get my handy dandy trusty spoon. Now this was the body carcass. Sorry. There we go. And stupid me did not break it down before I put it in the freezer, and that was a problem. So I had to do it frozen. So this is literally the whole body, breast, all that kind of thing. And we're going to strain it, do all that. Same thing. If there's any big chunks of meat out of here, I will save that for the animals. I season this exactly the way that I seasoned the other, but you see the kind of difference. This has been going, I guess, about, well, let's see, we said 10:55. It's 3:31 now. I'm still going to let this go a little bit longer. And I may reduce this one down, and maybe I'll can the other one. We'll see. I haven't decided what I want to do. I have a couple of days technically. See, if I really want to, I could technically put that in the refrigerator, and I've got a couple of days to decide what and how I want to do things, right? Then you just heat it back up, process your jars, put them in the jars, pressure can, do all the things. So I may not do it all today because it's 3:32. You got to plan your stuff out right. And it takes hours and hours and hours. So technically, if I want to, I can put this in the refrigerator, buy myself a couple of days, and decide what I want to do with it. I had a friend of mine ask me, why do you dehydrate so much of your stuff? Why don't you just can it? Like the eggs, right? My broth, some of my fruits, things of that nature. To be quite honest with you, space. It's a space issue. I have the ability to dehydrate. You know, I can fit, God, in a pint jar. That would be an awful lot of stock. Like that would be gallons and gallons of stock in a pint jar instead of me having quarts, because I don't have a whole lot of room for cans, to be quite honest with you, for my mason jars. So a lot of times I'll dehydrate, you know, because it saves me space, and I can have that at a whim. It is a little less likely for me to have a problem. Like I don't have to worry about the jar coming unsealed, right? Like sometimes that happens when we can. Pressure canning and water bathing, the seals break. And then that's just garbage. You have to throw it away. I mean, unless you want to take a chance on botulism, and baby, I ain't the one. You know, you've lost it. So it's a little safer. Definitely saves me a lot of space. You know, the eggs, water glassing, you need really, really, really big jars. I can fit 18 eggs in a pint. In a pint jar, 18 eggs. I can fit 72 in a quart. I'm just saying. That's a lot of eggs, right, in a little quart jar. That's also powder, and I don't have to worry about anything becoming unsealed. So that's kind of the reason why I do a lot of the dehydration in a lot of the things that I have. Is just purely to save space, and it's a little safer. I don't have to worry quite as much. I don't have to go down and check those. I check my jars, by the way. If you're new to canning, you know, it isn't just a set it and forget it kind of thing. You have to check your jars. I check my jars at least once a week. No, I do not store mine with the rings. Sorry, with the rings on them. It's just the lids, and I will go down in my basement and I run my hands across every single one of my lids to make sure that I haven't lost anything. I've lost several jars of jelly, several of the pineapple. I want to say maybe one or two of my triple berry. It was mostly the pineapple. Got to throw it away. So you need to check those things. And the reason they tell you not to put the rings on them is because it can technically seal itself again. Yeah, you don't want none of that. Just a little PSA. Just a little PSA. So we're going to end up with quite a bit of turkey broth, which is lovely. And I'm super, super happy about that. So we'll have a part 3 and we'll decide which way we're going to go on as far as storing it. But this one definitely has... I may go another hour or 2 on it. That was 4 hours in the Instapot, and that was kind of a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's done. I just need to strain it, strain out the things that I want, and figure out, you know, what I'm doing with it, basically. So there you go. There's part 2. Y'all come back for part 3. You hear?